And welcome, everyone, to Missouri Valley Conference Chat. I'm Andy Katz, pleased to be joined by Illinois State's Dan Muller. Dan, you guys have had an interesting season, to say the least, here in the first month.
Yeah.
I want to get to some results here, but first, let's do a little positives. Your big three of Antonio Reeves and Cy Chapman and Mark Freeman, whether it's scoring, rebounding, assists, they've come through for you. How would you assess sort of that overall production of that core three right now?
Well, they've had big games. Antonio and Cy have been our most consistent. Cy's on a little dip right now, but they're all very talented. They all have kind of quote unquote won games for us. And I think with their inside-outside combination, mainly Tone and Cy, it gives us significant threat both inside and out. And I like the talent level that we have. We've had other guys step up, Andy, and we need to continue to make sure that other guys understand that, we want them to be threats. We want them to be scorers. Part of being a good team, especially early, and when you have a decent number of new guys, but guys in different roles for any team, is accepting those roles and playing together. And we've got, again, a couple of dominant scorers in Cy and Tone, but we need to have a little more balance. But those three have been really good. Tone's been very consistent. And most nights, or every night, I'm just glad they're on our team.
So your results, it's kind of crazy when I was looking at this. Double overtime loss to Eastern Michigan where you score 98. A double overtime win and you score 105 against Bucknell, and usually Bucknell does not give up 100 points. A 90-point scoring and a loss to Buffalo. You win in overtime, a Valley opener against Missouri State, 79-74, and then the Jackson State loss. I mean, how do you make sense of you're scoring a ton of points, giving up some, obviously, in some of these games as well, and having a big win to open the league over Bucknell, but it's sort of a little bit all over the place right now.
It is a bit all over the place, and we've got a good schedule. Jackson State just got us recently. We had a big win against Missouri State in overtime, as you said, our third overtime game in our first 8 games. And we did not play well, and Jackson State's better than their record. But every single game, take out our D2 game against Davenport, I'm almost positive every other game we've played has been within 5 points in the last 4 minutes of the game. Every one. So that's 7 of them. Now, again, 3 of those went into overtime. 4 of them didn't, but they were close. Buffalo was a bit stretched out, actually. That was one game we weren't. So we've been in close games, and part of that's because we're good, and so we're playing good teams, and they're close games. Part of it's because we have some inconsistency still. We can't sustain runs very well right now, whether it's turnovers or defensive rebounding or whatever it is. It's different for each game. We just shot it poorly against Jackson State. We shot 24% in the second half. Defensively, we were fine. So we're just still trying to figure out how to be consistent. The attitudes are really good. Effort is actually pretty good. But again, turnovers, missing open shots, defensive rebounding have really cost us. And then in some games we fouled too much. So as you said, a little bit up and down, but actually very consistent with close games. And our goods are really good. Our bads aren't very good. So we got to get more consistent, but I'm really optimistic. We've got finals right now. Got some practice time. And we've got some schedule, of course, our schedule going into Christmas. We've got some time to play some good basketball going into conference, which is what we're all trying to do, right? Prepare for conference play. And I'm feeling very good that going into conference play, we'll be playing our best basketball.
Yeah. I mean, scoring clearly is not an issue for you guys. I mean, how do you tighten up defensively? Because, while it's great to score 90 to 100 points, you don't want to give up 90 to 100.
Yeah, we're giving up too much. And look at my stat sheet right now. Defensively, we've had a couple main issues. Transition defense has really cost us early. It's been better the last 2 games. And then we've had certain games we just foul way too much. Our defense field goal percentage isn't great by any stretch, but we're at 44%, which isn't terrible. It's just not very good. But taking away transition defense, fouling too much, those 2 things we have to control better. But honestly, our turnovers have really hurt our defense. It's 17 turnovers in our last game. The other team had 23 points off turnovers. And so our half-court defense is actually solid. Not great, but solid. Turnovers, fouling too much, transition defense. Those 3 things have hurt us. And those are the three things we focused on. Like I said, against Jackson State, they shot 41%. You know, we were solid against them. We just couldn't score for the first time all year. And so it's different things. It's not the same theme each game, positive or negative. We've just got to be more consistent and a little bit more disciplined in every aspect.
And last thing, Dan, clearly we've seen in the Valley, each team, for the most part, what I would consider the contenders, have popped up and had a good win. No one is really, really consistent, although they're playing a lot of good schedules. How much do you get the sense that this really could be wide open in January and February?
Yeah, I wouldn't say wide open, only because, you know, Loyola had the best season to this point. You know, they've had some obviously losses against very good teams, some good wins. And then you look at a Drake and a Northern Iowa and Missouri State were picked top, and you look at health. You know, Missouri State against us didn't have their starting point guard. Northern Iowa's had some guys in and out. Do I think it's wide open with regards to every team can beat everybody? Yes, but certainly the teams, and there's no secret to Sandy. I mean, Loyola has 4 super seniors. Drake has 3 or 4 super seniors. Northern Iowa has 3 or 4 super seniors, and other seniors on their rosters. They're the oldest teams in our league by far. You know, we don't have any super seniors and only one true senior who's playing basketball. So I think the league's going to be competitive. Certainly, I think any team can beat anybody, but those older teams, those handful of teams I just mentioned, you know, I would still be surprised if they weren't the most consistent. Most consistent teams, when you're good, are going to win the most games. It's just any night your best can beat anybody.
Well, certainly Illinois State, I think, factors into that and will during the course of the season. Dan, I appreciate it. Have a great holiday, and hopefully we'll talk soon.
Good to see you, Andy. Thank you.